part of the day where we're going to have a bit of a panel discussion. I've up here with me 6 of the best redheads. They've all made a business or something of that nature out of the redhead thing, and we're all going to have a panel discussion on what it is to be a redhead and where the topics are going with the things that people have started up here. So we're all just going to introduce ourselves here, starting with Barry on the end. Barry is Ginger with Attitude.
Hello, I'm Barry and I'm Ginger with Attitude.
And what is your business involved, Barry?
We make t-shirts and mugs and stuff for people that want to show how proud they are of being redheads.
Okay, is it what kind of nature on the t-shirts and mugs and products?
What sorry?
What is the nature of the content like?
It's hopefully amusing, puns and cute little characters. Obviously I'm a cute guy, so just trying to, represent myself as a cute little character.
Have you a shirt on there, Barry, for us?
I do have a shirt on.
What does it say?
Music of Ginger Origin.
Excellent.
Which is a little play on the Music of Black Origin Awards.
I like it.
Thank you.
Next up, Jolene Cronin. We all know you, but if we don't out there in the audience, what are you up to?
Okay, my name is Jolene Cronin. I'm from Crosshaven here, and I'm the founder of the convention that you're all celebrating this weekend. I started it back in 2010 with my brother Dennis. Oh, thank you. Yes. What do you like? I started it back in 2010 with my brother Dennis as a joke. And well, it's quite overwhelming really to see so many redheads celebrating Dennis's birthday and the Irish Redhead Convention this weekend. That's me.
Excellent, Jolene. Next up here we have Jackie Collins, who's the author of the Red Book there up in the merchandise tent, which is still for sale. You've still got 2 left. Introduce yourself then.
Hi, I keep being introduced as Jackie Collins, but I'm Jackie Collis Harvey actually. I wouldn't mind if I was her, I wouldn't mind her royalties. And I am the author of A Natural History of the Redhead, which has its European launch here this weekend. So I'm very proud of it. And I'm still signing books.
There's a few books left there for sale. My name's Pepe Mara. I came to the Redhead Convention last year as a backpacker, and I never left Crosshaven basically. I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the girl that I met at the Redhead Convention. She's over there in the crowd, gorgeous as ever. She doesn't have red hair, she's a brunette, but she's I'd say the leader of the Redhead Appreciation Society, so I'm just a ginger enthusiast.
I'm Emma Kelly. I'm the editor of gingerparrot.co.uk, which is a website for redheads. It's kind of a lifestyle blog, talk about fashion, beauty, health tips for redheads. Get to come to amazing events like the Irish Redhead Convention, and we basically just anything to do with red hair, it's on there basically.
Jess, what you got?
Jessica Shales. I run a website for redheads called Everything for Redheads, where we mostly sell hair products just to enhance red hair. I again get to go to brilliant events like this. I also founded Redhead Day UK, which I organised with Emma and Barry. So there's all ginger tastic.
When's that event on, Jess?
That's in 3 weeks. It's the 12th of September in London.
Excellent.
And then we're going to have the Mogo Awards, which is Barry's baby, which is going to go on there as well.
Wonderful. So lots going on over in the UK. Tristan.
Hello. My name is Tristan Rogers. I'm from Germany. I'm publisher of an art-based magazine run about red hair. It's called MC1R. Yeah, this is the cover of the magazine. I'm collecting events, news, portraits, and everything around about this international thing what's going on right now. And I'm enjoying staying here in the island for this Redhead convention. Thank you.
Excellent, Tristan. Welcome. Now, I'll start with the question. I'm going to throw it straight over to Jolene, who's the organiser of the event. Jolene Cronin, we're also going to take a few questions from the audience, but not for a while. We'll probably do that a little bit after. But I'll start with you, Jolene, and you can flick it on to someone if you want. Why is it important to celebrate red hair at events like the Redhead Convention, and not? Is there anything for other hair shades that you know of, or do you think why is it important for the redheads to be celebrated? Yeah.
Well, firstly, I suppose you asked me, was there any other events with other hair colours? So I've never come across a blackhead convention. I've never come across a grey-haired convention. I've heard of Star Trek gatherings and stuff, but I think the only hair colour in the world that's celebrated like this is indeed red hair. And it's an interesting question as to why this happens, because I don't really know the answer, but I do know what the experience is like. And the experience is really kind of, well, for me it's quite, I suppose it's a bit like being in a community. It's a bit like, you know, you're with people who've had similar experiences, and there's lots of stuff to talk about. Even people that you've never met before, but like when you've got the same hair colour, there's kind of this sense of understanding, and there's a sense of like, yeah, you know, we've heard the same names, or like, you know, we have the same problems with frizzy hair or whatever it is. So I think like those kind of similar experiences what connects people together. Plus, it's a whole lot of fun when a load of redheads get together too. I think the sight of actually seeing so many redheads, for me, is definitely like, it's pretty special, isn't it?
It is brilliant.
Yeah.
And attractive.
And it's very attractive.
It's like a magnet.
It's the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have the same effect if they were all blonde, would it?
I don't think. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Okay, brilliant answer. And Tristan, you run the art magazine MC1R.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about it? And you photograph redheads in a beautiful kind of a light.
Yeah, I saw the last 2 years that there's, when I started this magazine, that there's a lot of nice projects and nice photography projects around this topic, and I like to build up and be a part of this network and collecting and showing everything in this what you can see around the world. And there's a lot of really nice this fashion combined with portraits and all this stuff, and it's like that.
I'd say redheads are pretty easy to photograph too. There's a lot of charisma.
Yeah, very popular for photographing.
I see a lot of cameras around this weekend.
Especially today.
Snap away, no bother.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Easy done. Excellent. No, I do like the magazine. Does anyone else want to elaborate on that question at all? Or has anyone else heard of anything other to do with any other hair shades? Or?
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of my friends say to me, what on earth do you do at these redhead conventions? And you know, they always say, you know, what do you do? Do you count each other's freckles or compare sunburn? And well, yeah, actually that's kind of what we do. Some of the fantastic competitions you've had at this event are quite hilarious, but also quite interesting and intriguing and unique to redheads. So I think that's kind of, we have unique stereotypes that affect us, or that kind of shape our mentality or our psyche, that don't apply to, you know, you have the blonde joke about dumb blondes and that kind of stuff, but there's so many more stereotypes that you can attach to redheads.
There is, yeah.
And that's why it's quite cool to celebrate them, because you can kind of embrace them and flip on the head and put a positive spin on it rather than be negative about it.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. And it is a little hard to get if you're not a redhead, isn't it? Because you haven't grown up with the difference. But I'd just like to take a quick moment to thank all the people that aren't redheads that come down and support anyway. It is really nice to have you all here, and I think it's nice. So go on then.
There's just something I wanted to add to that, that I think that this is one of these things that sort of grows at its own pace. Redhead Day in Breda has been going for 10 years now, but there is this real sort of redhead moment happening, and I think redheads are aware of that, and that's one of the reasons why events like this are becoming ever more popular, that redheads want to get together and celebrate how unique they are, really. I mean, what other hair colour gets its own convention, for goodness sake? And this is not the only one. These are happening all over the planet.
Brilliant sense of humour, come on. Tell them how good our sense of humour is out there.
I think generally redheads don't necessarily take themselves too seriously. I think that we're able to have a bit of a laugh and stuff, and whatever reason that is, it's a massive part of your identity, and I think it's important that we continue to be able to just joke and just feel really positive.
And when we're together, it's even easier to have the laugh, isn't it?
Yeah.
And all the attitudes bouncing around off each other. Now, Emma, I want to ask you this question because you do a lot of blogging and you're very in touch with the social media, and the internet's going so quick these days that you'd probably have a good answer for this. Do you think, Cynthia, how long have you been doing it? Long have you been doing it?
Ginger Parrot is 3.5 years old.
3.5 years old. So in that time, do you think people are changing in society the way they look upon redheads? Are attitudes changing at all, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. In the short time that I've been doing this, you get like people nodding at you in the street, or people's hair is quite bright, and you can tell like they're owning it. They've got bright red hair, but they'll also wear bright colours at the same time. Yeah, you can tell people aren't ashamed of it, and I mean, these events, they're growing every year, so it's obvious that everyone's pride is getting louder. Basically, everyone's getting louder with how proud they are for having something that makes them stand out so much.
Oh yeah, you got to get the merchandise. Tristan, with the magazine, has it been more followed since you've started it? Has it been growing?
Yes, of course. Especially the last 2 months, there's been a lot of press around all our things, and everybody's talking about this whole culture, like the events, the magazine, the blogs are going around, and the books. And when I had interviews with, especially Vice magazine, I told that it's everything. I told all the things I know, and it's really getting a big push the last time. And my followers are on social media, and the orders are going up to hundreds and thousands. So it's really big the last week. So, and it's really, I think it's a great, how to say it, I don't know the English word for that, but it's growing up nice, in a very nice way, I think, and it's not too much. It's very good.
Excellent. Now, but I know bullying comes up a lot whenever there's ginger things on the menu. So we're going to touch on it a little bit, but we're not going to dwell on it. Barry, what do you think in society? I find I'd say it's the last thing that's still accepted to kind of poke fun at a bit of a ginger, and it's nearly still okay. Like I'd see it even down in Australia, especially on the telly. It's fine to call someone a ranger or something like that. Could you give us a bit of a spiel on that?
I don't mind being called a ranger because I quite like it.
Oh, I love it. I turn it around straight away.
They're cool though, aren't they? They're the best animals.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think when I was a kid, people used to call us Duracell, and you can't, to me, if somebody says Duracell, well, that means I last longer. And in certain contexts, that's quite a good thing.
It's fun to turn around, isn't it? So,
I don't know, I'm probably not a good example to pick on about bullying, because I don't really feel like I was ever bullied.
Yeah. I wouldn't mess with you, Barry.
Well, so I'm kind of quite large, and I suppose that I was teased, and I was given the names, and I've grown up playing sport in men's cricket since I was a kid. So when I was a kid, we used to have a ginger fine when we went on cricket tours, but I always took that in the spirit that it was intended in. It wasn't meant to kind of make me feel bad about myself. It was just a thing that kind of sports people do. So I'm not really qualified to talk about bullying. I do know there's a fine line between banter and teasing and actually bullying, and if it crosses that line beyond a bit of name calling and a bit of teasing into kind of violence or making somebody feel bad about themselves because of their hair color, well, clearly it's ridiculous, and it's equally ridiculous to discriminate against somebody because they're disabled or because of their skin color or whatever. So, but there is a fine line between teasing and
absolutely, Barry. The line
being
is
horrible.
I think, Barry, I think that's a very good point, because I think the problem with prejudice and discriminatory behaviour of all sorts is kind of like bindweed. You either attack all of it or you're not really going to deal with any of it. And I think that bullying of anybody is completely unacceptable, and we should stand up, and we are standing up for ourselves.
There is definitely a line there, and it does get crossed at times, I'd say, Barry, and the rest of everyone. But it is a bit of fun. Like, that's why we have fun at these events, isn't it? You know, all the stereotypes come out and you just accept them and have a laugh about them. So I enjoy that. Now, Emma, once again, back to the, do you think kind of attitudes are changing? Are the events and the publicity, like all the publicity that's quickly growing and surrounding redheads all over the world, seemingly, do you think it's like leading out of the bullying thing? Do you think it's changing? It's always been a minority, but do you think that minority is going to be changed from a picked on kind of minority to a really celebrated minority?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's something that we obviously all realise from being here at the event, is we all realise that we are different, and that is a good thing. I mean, 2%, I think it's at least like most 2% of the world's population have red hair, and you know, some people say we're dying out, which obviously like we're not. There's enough of us here still. But yeah, it's obviously something that everyone's realising now is a really cool thing. People are dyeing their hair red. There's so many celebrities with red hair at the moment, and yeah, it's society generally is kind of changing, and I think particularly in the UK, I think maybe the bullying is pretty bad for red hair, and I think you see like kids running around and you can tell they own their like big frizzy ginger hair, and it looks really cool. And I think these events are perfect for that, because you know, they spend all day having their photos taken, and they may be shy at the start of the day, but by the end of it they're loving it, and you know, it's showing kids how special they are, and that's one way of sort of, you know, shaking this bullying of redheads. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jolene, you run an event that's very family based. I think it's brilliant, and you can see how many youngsters are around, like, and I think that's great. Do you think would the awareness ever? Would you think it'd be a good idea to enter it into schools, like, and have awareness from a younger age? Because I'd say that's where a bit of
awareness
negative
of
trouble
in particular.
Yeah.
But do you think that focusing just on redheads in schools would kind of almost separate us out a little bit more?
I think it could.
I think it could. I wouldn't kind of really focus on redheads as such, kind of for something anti-bullying in school. I think bullying in general needs to be, I suppose, approached in school curriculums, which it is in Ireland. It's part of the program here, and there's many anti-bullying programs that are being used.
Excellent.
I think in a way it is great to celebrate the red hair, but like to the point where, you know, it is kind of like about instilling a sense of pride, but not kind of to an overkill. You know, there's a bit of a fine line there.
Absolutely.
And I think we kind of discussed this well between ourselves earlier with all these events that are going on around the world. At what point does it become oversaturated in a way?
Yeah.
But like, I think it's still a huge thing that we should celebrate, and I wouldn't like to see it change anyway. But it's just a kind of an interesting thing that we should probably think about.
Yeah, and go on. Yeah.
Well, it was just to say, with social media, I think increasingly children are exposed to ideas of what people, things like the Kardashians, and you know, looking a certain way and selfies, and I think growing up now is increasingly difficult to have a good self-esteem. Conversely, when I came to the Irish Redhead Convention last year, there was this one child who, she had this gorgeous curly red hair, and I can remember, I think it was Jolene who told me it was the first time she'd been told that that was a positive thing. It's the first time somebody said, you've got beautiful hair, which is both sad and wonderful that she was told, and she was made to feel great, and she was brimming. So I think things like the Irish Redhead Convention and being able to celebrate red hair, whether it's with the magazine, whether it's a website or whatever, this is just the opposition to what social media. It's an opportunity for us to go and be happy with what we've got, and it's a very important thing to do for that reason.
Yeah, excellent. And all the people that are up here run events and businesses even, or books or magazines based on the red hair thing. Jolene kind of touched on it there before. Tristan, you run the magazine. Do you think, have you found any competition? Like, is there other things starting up that you think could saturate the market and people could get a bit overfilled with it and maybe become bored with the idea?
I think right now it is very good organized because everybody knows each other,
yeah.
and everybody has his niche in this market, and it works very good. For me, for example, I don't. I want to say to the bullying stuff that I don't have it in my magazine, because I think that is too much.
All positive. The magazine. It's
great. I think it's not really too positive, but it has focus on the aesthetics and the events and news around the world, and like portraits of redheads, on work with redheads, and I don't want to be the guy who's doing like politic things, you know, and trying to change society or something like that. There's another way to handle this, I think. It's when you do positive stuff, the children identify with this, you know, and they see there's a lot of nice things going around that and not negative things.
Yeah.
And that's I think it's a better work for this, better to work on that, and I think everybody's doing very good, because the communication in this, like this table here, and everybody knows each other. We had a beer with each other, and everything is fine, and everybody is happy with this, and so it's really good. I think.
But Barry, do you think it's all awareness and having fun with it? It's all on the climb, I'd say. Do you think it could hit a peak, and other people could, you know, feel we could, you know, in doing so much of it, could we make other people feel a bit left out, and could we go too far in that kind of way?
I think if that happens, then
Possibly. I don't really care about feeling leaving anybody out.
Yeah, right. Well, that's fair enough. Do you have any thoughts on that, Emma? Do you think you get tired? Could we make people feel down?
When we've solved the issue of bullying, then I think maybe we should worry about that, because yeah, I mean, we deserve our time to shine. I think, you know, we've grown up with, whether it's teasing or bullying, it's, you know, it's something you have to deal with, and I mean, it gives you a thicker skin when you get older, but that's not to say I'm pleased that it happened to me. So yeah, I think we deserve these events for, you know, yeah.
I think that's a positive. If we ever get to a point where this conversation doesn't need to be had anymore, then that's a great place to get to, because we've done our job, we've been successful. Isn't that kind of, wouldn't that be good? I mean, I'd still want to meet up, guys, but yeah, that's a positive place to get to, maybe.
Out there in the audience, is there anyone that wants to kind of ask a question? Is there any kind of hands going up in the audience? Does anyone want something discussed up here? They can come up and even speak in the mic if they'd like. Nope. Didn't think so. What's Barry up to?
Has anybody got any wasp spray?
Yeah.
Do you know that, interesting redhead fact, bees and wasps are much more likely to sting redheads. Seems that unfortunately we're not the only species that finds the hair colour attractive. So we're all actually being incredibly brave here today.
Yeah. Okay. Now, it's a bit of a fun question, I'd say. We've talked about the attitudes towards redheads changing and beautifying redheads in magazines and kind of having fun at festivals and all this. Jess, could you tell us, have you had positive or negative experience like from potential partners? You know, have you ever ran into anything with your hair over that?
It's funny actually, Emma and I were on London Live, it was possibly even a year ago, where we were sat opposite somebody who I think is hated by gingers everywhere, anyone who's seen it, called Milo. And he was giving us this speech about how, scientifically speaking, apparently redheads are less attractive. Like, he was trying to talk about these studies, and it did not go down well. And both, you see me and Emma at the same time going, and then we were asked the question by the interviewer. They said, have you guys had any problems like getting attention? And we just both went, no.
Not a chance. Like, you're the most gorgeous.
Yeah. But it was, the thing is, I think it makes you stand out for whoever you are, and either everyone's got their positive and, you know, negative side, and I think beauty is obviously in the eye of the beholder. If somebody doesn't like ginger people, that's completely fine with me, because there are people who love it, and that's a defining characteristic. And I love to see it in other people. I love to see the unique things in other people. And I've heard somebody say, I'm going to really mess up this quote, but it's something along the lines of, you actually like somebody for the good things about them, but often you come to love their flaws, or you come to love the things that are unique and a little bit different, and that they might not even like about themselves. And I'm really glad that now I've come to love having red hair and love seeing that in other people. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was pretty good, I'd say.
I'm single and I see red people.
Yeah, see you at the speed dating later, guys.
Single and gorgeous, speed dating tonight upstairs at the Or. Here's a question. Do you want to come
just
up?
saying.
Oh no, just stay here.
Go on.
You were talking on the topic of bullying.
Yeah.
What would be a good solution to stop the bullying of gingers?
Yeah, right. Robert up the front there has just asked what would be a good solution to stopping kind of bullying of gingers, but I think what we're all doing here now, celebrating red hair and having the magazines, the blogging, the shirts, the merchandise, all the stuff, just I think in one word I could describe it as just awareness. So that's how I would sum it up. Does anyone else have a quick touch on that?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, all it is that I think sometimes people, like you say, awareness. I don't think somebody's necessarily aware of how hurtful it can be, and I do think to an extent it's because we laugh it off, and that's one way to make sure that you can have an impact on whether you're a victim by just deciding not to be. So there is something that you can do, but I think some people maybe not so aware of how hurtful some things are, and I think that's an important thing.